Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Eurovoxx Podcast, the place where we'll be discussing all things Eurovision coming up today, almost as a way to kick off a new season of the podcast and Eurovision. We are going to be doing what we did to kick off the podcast all the way back in November last year and going through Junior Eurovision, this time held in Nice, and we will be giving you our predictions for that. So, I will say not much has changed about the podcast. We're going to keep things very similar. But one thing you might have noticed is on a trial basis for this time, we're going to be doing a video version of the podcast for this edition. So you can see our lovely faces, our lovely reactions, and hopefully all my guests laughing at my jokes. That's the key reason why I'm doing video. I'm glad you got the memo, guests. Thank you very much. But speaking of guests, of course. But first, let me introduce our guests. These are some familiar faces, not only Eurovoxx people, but of course to the podcast. First guest we have, she did the Junior Eurovision episode last year, and she's such an expert. We thought we'd have her back. It is Jess, of course. Welcome, Jess, to the podcast.
Hello.
Hello. And I thought this time to add a bit more diversity, we'd bring in a true expert in the field, someone that knows their stuff. Sadly, they weren't available, so instead we've got Twan. Hello, Twan. Lovely to see you.
Bye, I'm off. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad. No sense of sarcasm in that answer, I'm sure. So, before we get into the main section of the show, we of course have to start with 3 questions. We always start with 3 questions. Now, of course, both of our lovely guests have been on the show before, so we know their answers to what's their favorite Eurovision entry, what's their first Eurovision. So let's tweak that slightly. So, Jess and Twan, your first question is, what is your favorite Eurovision, or maybe your favorite Eurovision moment from a Eurovision that you've been in person?
Oh, for me, that's easy. Well, I can only say one, right?
Yes. You can't be on the fence already, Jess.
Okay.
Come on. We're 2 minutes in.
If I can only say one, it would have to be in Turin last year when I was in our apartment with Stuart and Paolo, and we were watching the jury voting. Of course, that Sam Ryder from the UK won. That probably would be my best moment of a Eurovision where I've been in the host country and been there together. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was there in the arena. Like, you can imagine how the feeling even better from there. But of course, yeah, I mean, it's surreal. It was so surreal when the UK were doing well. It was like, what?
It was wonderful, but
it was great, yeah.
Strange at the same time.
Gotcha. Very strange. I remember, I've probably told this story in the podcast before, but I remember being in the arena, and I'm slightly short-sighted, and obviously the screens are at the top, so I had to ask the person next to me about halfway through, how many points are we on? I think it's 3 digits, but I can't exactly tell. Because usually with the UK, you can count on your fingers. Like, you don't need you don't need the backup. And Twan, what's your sort of moment?
Well, I'm glad Jess mentioned that moment, because I'm going to a totally different side of the UK. I'm going back to 2021 when I was watching the final live in the arena, and there were 3 or 4 instances of 0 points in the jury. In the was it the jury? No, it was the televoting.
Yeah.
And the atmosphere in the arena of the audience supporting those artists getting 0 points was amazing. It was really, really lovely to see all Eurovision fans unite to support the artists that didn't do as well in the televote. So that is probably my favorite moment.
Yeah, that's always the thing about Eurovision. It can unite people in all sorts of scenarios, whether it's struggle economically, whether it's real life stuff, or whether it's 4 countries getting 0 points. Everything can unite fans in a Eurovision context. The true broad range of the UK, all within the space of 365 days. Naturally. The second question for you all is, what was your favorite Eurovision entry from 2023?
This year.
Yes.
Mine is easy.
Okay, you go first.
Yeah, you go first.
For some reason, I can't even think 6 months back.
You've got 1 in 37 options, Jess.
Mine's Estonia, Alika Bridges. From the moment that she was announced in Eesti Laul, I said she'll probably be my winner. She will win Eesti Laul. I've followed Alika since she was in the Estonian version of Idol. I've loved her music ever since, and then she was announced for Eesti Laul. I was obviously ecstatic. Was super happy that she won Eesti Laul, and I'm super happy that she did so well in Eurovision. She got Estonia's best result in ages, so that's amazing.
To be fair, I do remember it was very much a "I told you so" moment for you, Twan, when Alika did do well.
I'm not often right with my predictions, but this one was correct.
Spoiler later, I guess. Glad you got you on this episode. And Jess, what's your favourite? Have you figured it out yet?
So I think see now there's a lot of songs that could be my favourite. If I had to pick one,
which you do.
This is so hard. I'm gonna go with Spain. Ella by Blanca Paloma.
Yes.
Very nice choice. One that for me personally, I wasn't a massive fan of the song, but the visuals and the actual staging was incredible. So yes, a very worthy choice. I'll say my answer now to avoid having to say it for the rest of the podcast this year. Mine was Finland with Cha Cha Cha.
Are you for real? I had never expected that.
I've barely said that on Eurovoxx platforms, so it is a surprise, I must say. Almost as much as a surprise as if we ever answered what my last place was from this year. I've kept that very quiet as well. Spoiler, Croatia. But so now we come on to the final question, and we've kept this obviously from last year. We've got the guest question. So the last guest we had on was Clara. And Jess and Twan, this is her question. Which two Eurovision acts would you like to see do a collab? Obviously not ones that have already done a collab, because that's cheating.
Good question. I mean, it could be fun to put together two very, very different artists, just purely to see what on earth would come out of that.
But I love the way you're thinking.
Yeah, that could be like an interesting one. Like
that was what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, like for example, someone like Serhat.
I knew Serhat was the first answer.
With someone like Željko Joksimovic, creating some Turkish, Balkan, ethnic Turkish pop ballad.
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking Serhat and Elina Nechayeva. That would be a song.
I think there might be some pitching issues with where to put the song. The operatic tones of Serhat and Alina's also that. No, yeah, that's a great question from Clara, and yeah, fantastic. First 3 questions of the series. So now we come on to the actual predictions for Junior Eurovision, which is taking place this month in November. I was about to say a date. I can't promise when this is going to come out. So let's just go for this month in November. So like last year, we have 16 songs competing. And I must say, last year, obviously, it was just me and Jess. Us two were the ones doing the predictions. And our predictions, I would say, overall, were fairly similar.
Yeah.
They were fair. We didn't get many right, I must say. We had
no.
our winner was Luna, and our last place was Portugal. They came within 1 position of each other in the actual scoreboard. Yeah. And I think admittedly, I will take a half mark for predicting Lissandro doing well, because I think we were the only people before the show thinking it would do well. So. We didn't predict it to win, but we did predict it doing well. We'll take it. That's fine. Let's forget about where we put Ireland as well. So that being said, so overall, not great, but our predictions were fairly similar. This year, and it's not even just because we've added Twan to the fold, I feel like we've listened to completely different songs and are ranking something. Yeah, I don't know what we've all listened to. It can't be the same 16 entries because we've not gone similar in many of these whatsoever. For spoiler, all 3 of us have gone for a different winner. So that's the ballpark we're going for here.
Well, to be fair, I do think that it is a year that is really unpredictable in terms of placing for both jury. Well, I think the jury is a bit more predictable this year than the televote is. But overall, I think it's a really, really unpredictable year, and it can go any way. So, yeah.
That is, yeah, I will agree. I did struggle coming up with a few of my predictions. I had a couple where I knew where I was going to put them, but then I was like, let's move you here. Like, no, you're coming 4th, not 5th. It's one of those where it's slightly confusing. But like last year, we cannot go through all 16 songs. We will be here 4 hours. And as much as I'm sure you love seeing our lovely faces and hearing our lovely voices, even I can't put up with my own voice for that long. So we are going to do a speed run through numbers 16 to 11 in the form of video and audio. So without further ado, here's who combined we think is coming 16th through 11th.
16.
To a place that I can call home, a place that I can call
13.
So that was our 16th through 11. In 16th and last place, sadly, we have Albania. In 15th place, we have Italy. 14th place, Portugal. 13th, Ireland. 12th, Estonia. And in 11th, we have Ukraine. Now, as I said, unlike last year, we did not agree on many of these, and there's a few of these each where we actually have them inside our top 10. So I thought, let's give the guests and myself an opportunity to say why the other two are wrong. So Jess, let's start off with you. Which of these did you have in your top 10?
So I had Ukraine in my top 10, which has now ended up in 11th place. And do you know what? The song, it's fun and it's really catchy, maybe a bit too catchy, but still, it's catchy, it's fun. The singer looks really cute on stage. The choreo that we saw in this, some kind of national final that they had, looked really good and visually appealing. And I think online voters especially are going to love this. It's a fun song. It's a fun, happy song.
Yeah, I think I had this 11th in my ranking. I almost put this in my top 10. The problem I've got is there's just 10 songs I think will finish higher. That's the issue I have. I'm not sure how much juries will attract to this. Televote I can see doing quite well. It's a nice, fun song with a very charismatic performer. But yeah, just outside the top 10. It could easily get in there. It's a matter of points potentially between 11th and 10th. So, Twan, you had two of these songs, unlike me and Jesse, we both had one outside the top 10. Care to explain which of these you think we are both wrong on? I can only imagine which one you think in particular you have issue with both of our ranking on.
Well, the first one that I have on 10th place is Ireland, which I think is a really, really good song. I am a little bit worried about their live vocals, though, because I've seen some performances in the national final, and they haven't been incredible. They haven't been amazing. But that could just be sound or something. So I'm not going to judge that until I hear the performance live, because on the audio recording, it sounds amazing. And I personally think that it can do just really well, because it's a lot like Solas from last year. It even features Sophie Lennon from last year. So yeah, that's why I put it 10th. And the other one, which I put quite a bit higher on 6th place, is Estonia. I just think that the song is really appealing to all ages as well. I think it appeals to jury because her vocals are really good. It showcases her vocals very well. But then again, it is also quite catchy. Even though it's not up tempo, it has a really catchy and uplifting, almost anthemic chorus, which I think could do really well with the televote as well. I initially had this a bit higher even, but I moved it down because but I moved it down because I think that there are other songs that will do better.
Makes sense. I mean, from Ireland's perspective, when you say it's very similar to Solas, no, it's exactly the same as Solas in terms of the music video, in terms of even the artist Sophie Lennon's in it. And in terms of the style, the dress, like there's taking advantage of success, and then there's blatantly copying what worked last year and trying to repackage it.
You could, I can see the resemblance, but I think it's definitely more operatic. This song, it has a more operatic and more classical vibe rather than Solas, which was a bit more, even more up tempo. And I don't think it's blatantly copying, because they are actually acknowledging the fact that the songs are similar by giving Sophie a cameo in the song. I think also in the live performance I saw that, but I'm not sure how reliable that is.
I mean, the problem is
yeah.
it's the same thing Ireland did in adult Eurovision. They did top 10 with Jedward, so they thought rather than be original and try and keep their momentum, they thought, let's send Jedward again the following year. It clearly worked. Ireland, I'm not going to do any Ireland jokes for my own sake. And then Estonia. It's a fine song. I don't know how it will do. I believe me and Jess have this 14th and 13th respectively. Look, Twan, if you're right, you can shove it in our faces and say that you are incredibly spot on with predictions.
Let's just think back at Carmento last time I was in the podcast.
That is true, but let's think about pretty much any other prediction you've done.
We're not going to mention that. Don't mention that.
It has to be a whole podcast in itself.
You get like one thing right a year, Twan, and then the rest is
let this be
inaccurate.
the one thing that I get right.
So for my one that I've got in 8th place, I've put Portugal. Now, this is actually an unpopular opinion. We don't have that segment anymore, sadly. Sorry, guys. But this is actually my winner this year. I absolutely love the Portuguese feel, and just the music video is so. I love the visuals, and Julia seems like she can perform this. She seems well seasoned and confident in front of camera. And okay, I know this is not the most popular song amongst the fandom. If I trust me, if I tried to put this as high as I could, I wanted this higher in my prediction, but I could only put it 8th. But here's the thing you've got to remember. It's the fact that Portugal last year also wasn't the most popular song. We had it last in our prediction. It came 8th. And then the year before, it again wasn't the most popular song, came 11th, 3rd in the televote. So there seems to be something about Portuguese entries, which even not with the fandom they're not liking, they seem to do well at Junior Eurovision. And in my opinion, this is much better than the last 2 years of Portugal and the recent years of Portugal even. So I have great confidence that this could do well with the jury. And also even the televote, I think, will enjoy this entry and potentially give it some points. They've done well with the televote the last 2 years. Maybe they just have a lot of Portuguese fans. Vote. Come on, Portugal. If you are listening from Portugal, vote for your entry this year and prove me right and do well. That is who we think the other two are wrong on. So they were 16 to 11. Now we move on to number 10. We're going to start talking about these in a bit more detail combined. So in 10th place, and I have to warn you now, it's one of the most polarizing ones when it comes to our predictions. It is Germany. 10.
Ohne Worte haben wir uns sofort verstanden. Ohne Worte war, wie wir zueinander fanden. Ohne Worte.
So that was Fia with Ohne Worte, Germany's entry for Jess this year. Now, as I said, very polarizing predictions. Jess, you sort of have the nice medium. You have this in 9th. So you're pretty similar to this. Twan, you have this finishing in 4th place in the ranking. And I have this finishing in 14th place in Junior Eurovision. Let's start with the healthy medium and then deal with us two later. So, Jess, why do you think this is coming in 9th?
I actually think this is Germany's best Junior Eurovision entry yet. It sounds quite modern and fresh and up-tempo compared to what they've sent previously. And I think this is maybe the more mature, grown-up sounding song that we've heard from Germany. And I think this is going to resonate with a lot of people. I think it's got a lovely melody, a lovely beat to it, a very memorable tune, a very catchy tune. And I think if she can have a good staging to go with this, because I've heard she's going to have a dancer on stage. So if they can make that work really well, and if she's going to be doing sign language or the dancer's going to be signing on stage, I think this could really stand out. And I think juries maybe won't go for this so much. I think online voters are going to like this and push it higher up in the ranking.
Online voters.
I agree with Jess, and she's not only going to have a dancer, she's also going to have a dance break, which she has been seen rehearsing on videos. So I'm really curious to how that will work out. But yeah, I totally agree with Jess. I think the fact that Fia is a really seasoned performer, she was in the voice kits of Germany, which she also signed during all of her performances. And if they manage to convey the message of the song well via the staging, which I think is a really vital aspect in this song, because the message is so important, especially because there are no English lyrics, because the song is fully in German. If the message is conveyed well, I think it will resonate with a lot of people, and a lot of people will love it. The hook is really, really catchy. It really gets into your head. So I think that is a really good thing as well. And as I said, she's a very seasoned performer, so her vocals are really good, which I think is why she could do well with the jury as well.
Fair enough. So you have this, yeah, I mean, you have this even higher, 4th place, considering Germany have not finished.
I do.
They've never finished outside the bottom 3, have they, in either of their 2 attempts? I know they came last
No.
in 2020 and then not last in 2021, but not much better.
They were third last, I think.
3rd last, yes. I mean, one benefit they can have is it's highly unlikely that they are going to be opening the show for their 3rd consecutive. Like, if they manage that again, that is ridiculously unlucky. Yeah, so I have this 14th, so I don't have this finishing outside the top at the bottom 3. I don't know why. There's some part of the aspect when
I do. Random.
Eeny, meeny, miny. No, no, I do know. I do have reasoning. Part of my reasoning when it comes to Junior Eurovision has to relate to the countries that usually get more votes when it comes to the televote, and also countries that have a bigger fan bases. Germany don't necessarily have that. They can grow into that, but they don't necessarily have that. Fia is a fairly famous performer in Germany, and I saw her Instagram follower numbers. It's one of the highest of the groups of the people we have in Junior Eurovision. That being said, the sign language does give it a USP. It does give it something that audiences can attract to. I don't know how memorable the song is in a recap, especially if it's early on. I just feel like there's not a hook. There's not enough progression. And while her vocals might be good, I don't think they diversify enough. It's better than their previous 2 entries. I 100% agree there. This has much more personality, and but much more personality. But that being said, yeah, there's 13 other songs which I think could do better in both the televote and the jury. It feels like this could be very middle in a lot of people's rankings, which is not where you want to be. Maybe the staging will prove me wrong. I am happy to be proven wrong with Germany. It's a song I do enjoy. But there's something that is like Germany, I feel at times, even in 2020 and 2021, were hyped a little bit, not maybe to Una Vota standards, but they were like, oh, this could do okay. But then in the end, to quote the Israel host, in the end, they didn't. So maybe this will be a similar case for Una Vota, sadly. But overall, we have this in 10th. Who knows? Let us know in the comments who you think is going to be correct out of us 3, because it's bound to be one of us fairly close in this ranking. I'd be amazed if we're nowhere near. But yeah, that is 10th place for us, Germany. So in 9th place, another one where I will say now, one of us has this in a much different position compared to the others. In 9th place, we have Poland.
No.
I just need a friend who tell me there's someone who would fly me to the moon.
So Poland's entry is Maya with I Just Need a Friend, and the former 2-time winners from recent years have caused a bit of diversity in our rankings as well. Well, I say diversity, not between 2 people, because actually 2 of us have this outside the top 10 in our rankings. Jess has this 11th predicted, Twan has this 12th, and I have this finishing all the way in 3rd place. So let's start off with the negativity, shall we? Tell me, people, why do you both hate Poland so much that you have got this outside of your top 10? Let's start with Twan. Let's be negative Twan first. Why do you have this in 12th place?
I think it's terrible. No, I don't.
Wonderful. Jess. No, go on.
No, I personally actually really like this song, and it's quite a bit higher in my ranking. However, I think there are a lot of ballads this year, and given that this song, I don't think that this song is really outstanding. I don't think it is anything special. I don't think it's really memorable. I would like to be proven wrong by the performance, but someone has to finish low, and the Polish fans don't seem to love this song a lot. So I'm not sure how much of support the entry will get from Poland itself. So yeah, I'm not really certain how well it will do. I don't think it will do as well. So I think it will finish just outside of the top 10.
I will say we have to have a limit on these "I want to be proven wrong" statements. We're just hedging all of our bad predictions.
No, but my prediction is really different from my personal top. So
I feel like that's not unique for you, Twan, somehow. I don't know why. So, Jess, you have it in a similar position in 11th place. Do you echo sentiments that Twan says, or you got different reasons?
Yeah, some of it for sure. I think, it does sound like a lovely, nice, beautiful song. And Maya seems like a great vocalist. But the song, for me, it's just not strong enough. And it doesn't stand out enough among, compared to the other 15 songs. And for me, it just falls a bit flat and it's not memorable enough. And I think depending on their running order, I think they're going to struggle to get that online vote support. I think juries would like this more so than the online voters. But overall, I don't think they're going to be getting the same kind of results we've seen of the past of Poland in Junior Eurovision. It's just not stand out enough for me.
Fair enough.
Sorry,
I mean,
Harry.
yeah, so, okay, the positive Polish fans, come back. You've got the positivity now with me. To be fair, obviously, To the Moon did not do as well as recent Polish entries. I believe it only came 10th. I would say with the running order, the last two editions, they have been in slot 3 and slot 2. So maybe Junior Eurovision sort of has to give them a nicer one this time.
Maybe
obviously, unless
4?
they get... But 4, yes. I suppose unless they get put in 1 or 16, I'd like to think maybe give them at least mid running order would be a little nice. I mean, different to what you guys say, I think this is more than strong enough to do well. Again, maybe not as much hype as other previous Polish entries, like your Vicky Gabors, your Sarah Jameses, your... Who's the singer that sung in 28? Yeah, that's it. Roxy. It's not got as much hype as that, but I think it's a very capable singer. It's got some very nice standout moments, especially the big notes at the end. It's got I love the message of this because I think it's a universal one, but it's one that I can relate to, one that kids can relate to. I must say the music video I thought was very lovely. For anyone that hasn't seen the music video, you might not get this context, but by the end I was like, if you do anything to that dog, I'm not even a dog person, but I'm like, no, that dog is precious to that specific person because that dog is needed by Maya in the context of the music video. Maybe it's similar in real life as well, but it's a message that people can connect to. And I think juries will attract to that. I think they will attract to not only a great song, but also a message that is kid-friendly, but also universal. And that's what this has. So, and also, at the end of the day, I know Twan said that Poland is not gravitating towards this as much as others. They'll gravitate to this enough to get like a decent televote score. Like Poland's one of those countries where they're never going to come last in the televote. They're always going to have like mid-table at worst. And this, I think, could push it. Poland, we know, can do good staging as well when they want to. So yeah, I actually see this coming in 3rd place and surprising a lot of people. Again, you got to bear in mind this factor I had with Germany. It's partly about who does usually well with certain diaspora because you can vote for your own country. And there's a lot of Polish fans this year that watch Junior Eurovision. So yeah, this is another one where I mean, Twan and I are completely different so far in this top 10. You've got Germany in 4th and 14th. I've got Poland 3rd and 12th. You know, it's the magic of a chaotic Junior Eurovision. So we'll have to see if either of us are correct, or Jess is the healthy medium, I guess, in this again, with a very similar position to the ranking. So yeah, who knows where this is going to end up? But this is our thoughts. Overall, we have Poland in 9th place. So now we come on to 8th in our ranking, and it's not quite as chaotic as the last two with the ranking, but there's a little bit of diversity. In 8th place, I will warn you now, there's no bias in this, 8th place, United Kingdom. 8.
We can dance you back to life. Yeah.
that was Stand Unique with Back to Life, the UK's entry for this year's Junior Eurovision. So this won't surprise you to find out that the Brits actually had this higher than the Dutchman. So, Jess, you had this the highest in 6th place. I had this in 7th. And Twan, my dear friend, you had this all the way outside of your top 10 in 11th place.
I did,
so,
and I will explain.
Jess, let's give him the evil eyes. Care to explain why you think
we're listening, Twan.
After such a great result last time, winning the televote, probably would have won if Freya was healthy. Why you think we're going to go all the way down to 11th place with this one?
I personally enjoy the song, but I think
you said that
the song...
every entry so far.
Because I do. It's one of my favorite Junior Eurovision years. I do enjoy nearly every song.
All right.
We might come to some songs that I don't really enjoy, but we'll see. No, but I think the song... it has a great hook, but it has a hook that is very special, and I don't think the hook will attract everyone because it can be quite annoying. The whistling, it can be found quite annoying by some people, and I've never seen them sing.
Basically,
and I've never seen them sing live together. So that was also a factor that I factored in. So I wasn't at all sure how they are live, if they can even sing live, how they sing together live, their stage presence and everything. Their presence in the music video is amazing, and if the performance is anything like the music video, I'm sure it will do better than I predicted. But given that those things were not there when I made the prediction, I predicted it to be just outside of my top 10.
Fair enough. Now onto positivity corner here. Jess, me and you. Let's have a chat. I say positivity corner. We don't have this ridiculously high. Like last year, we both had Freya in 2nd place. We have this just inside the top half. You've got this in 6th place. Why do you think it will be there?
Yeah. Well, because I think there's 5 other songs that will do better.
And 10 other ones which won't do as well. That's.
But no. I don't think our song this year is as good as what we sent last year, but I still think it is a good song nonetheless. It is different, and as Twan said, it's got, that you've got these whistle sounds. It's got a different kind of vibe going on. It's not like any other song in this year's contest, and I think that will help us to stand out and, well, to stand unique, I should say.
Someone had to say it. Come on, before you get to me.
And I think because the song is very up-tempo, very kind of catchy, happy sounding, very different, I think that's going to help it to stand out among the other songs. And if we get good running order, and if we have a good staging, maybe similar to what we've seen in the music video, and if the girls perform well live vocally, then I think juries... I'm not sure how juries are going to go for this one, but online voters might quite like this. We could be top 5 again in the online vote potentially, but juries, I've got no idea how they're going to go for this one. But it's different enough, catchy enough that I think we're going to be left side.
It is a weird feeling as a Brit having a contest now in Junior Eurovision where we rely more on the televote to do well. If we had to ever do that in adult, we'd be screwed. But with this, I'm very similar to you. So I've got 1 place lower, but similar feeling. This isn't as good as Freya. I think listening to this makes you appreciate how good Freya's entry was. It was really, really good. But there still has a lot of elements of Freya. I'm glad we've still taken a risk with this modern pop sound that we seem to be trying to do with Junior Eurovision. This slightly R&B, slightly edgier sound that can also cater to adults, but also older teenagers. People forget, like people will say with this and Freya writings, oh, it's not child appropriate. Listen, this contest goes up to 14 years old. People around the ages of like 11 to 14 do listen to this sound of music. This is 100%. 100% age appropriate, as was Freya last year, and I'll stand by it. They weren't. It wasn't about a friendship. I will agree with that, but that's neither here nor there. With Stand Unique, first of all, I think they've all got great personalities. Also helps one of them's from Essex. That does give you an extra vote in my book. But yeah, the music video is great. You have to do very little to transfer that over to the staging. You could add a little bit. You could even add some extra notes. I would say I would prefer some sort of note progression at the end. It's
That
very
was
similar
what I was
in the
going to add as
chorus.
well.
It
It is very anticlimactic.
It is very
Yes.
anticlimactic, but visuals can always help with that. Like with anything, that's the optimistic side of me, I must say. I still think I think seventh's a fair result. Again, I'm similar to you. I'm not sure on jury, but we won the televote last year with a very similar style. And if you look at YouTube numbers, we're doing fairly well. And at the end of the day, a lot of we did get good numbers in the UK for this, who will vote for our own entry. That's the key thing with Junior Eurovision. You're allowed to vote for your own entries. And I will probably say that for at least 6 out of the next 7 entries that we talk about for this. But yeah, I don't have this doing ridiculously well. 7th place, I think, is absolutely fair. Similar to you, top 5 with the televote, maybe. It could even just be outside the top 10 with the jury, maybe just in. But overall, 7th and overall 8th in our collective ranking. So now we come to 7th in our ranking, and that spot belongs to Georgia.
7.
So that was Anastasia and Ranina with Over the Sky, the only entry in this year's Junior Eurovision that has more male competitors than female male competitors.
Ooh.
That is a slightly sad stat and a state of affairs, but let's not talk about that too much, otherwise we might get sad. So I'd say out of all the entries so far, this is the one where we have very similar opinions on where this will finish. I have this the highest out of everyone. I've got this in 6th. Jess, you have this at 7. Twan, you have this at 9. So very similar ballpark of where we think this will finish. Jess, let's start with you right in the middle, because actually you have this in 7th place. You've got this bang on where we think it will finish. What are your thoughts on Georgia?
Well, I absolutely love the song, first of all. And I love that they're bringing some traditional, I think it's the polyphonic Georgian singing to the Junior Eurovision stage. And I think what the 2 boys, the Ranina in this case, are singing goes so perfectly with Anastasia, however you say her name. And I just think it's such a beautiful Georgian ballad is how I would describe it, maybe a power ballad. And I think the 3 voices together just sound incredible. The melody is beautiful. This, again, is going to do very well with the juries, I'm sure. And then it's not going to do so well with the online voters. I think it's going to be another typical Georgian Junior Eurovision finish. But it's a beautiful song. It's a very totally different sound and vibe to any of the other songs, which I think is going to work in its favour. And if they have a good staging and a good live performance, definitely somewhere on the left side, maybe lower left side, I think they'll finish.
Yeah, that makes sense. Twan, you just have this just outside the top half of the scoring in 9th.
Yeah.
But do you echo very similar sentiments to Jess?
I do. I totally agree with Jess. And one thing that I would like to add is that I am a bit cautious of the live performance, because we know they can all sing separately. But given that the song is so complicated and so complicatedly structured, it might get messy in the live performance. And in the case that it does, I think it will not come across well to the jury or the televote. But in the case that it does perform well, I think the jury will absolutely eat this up, because their voices are so incredible and they are super talented. But I don't think this will appeal to the televote at all.
Yeah, I'll be honest, out of all the entries in this year's contest, Georgia's probably the one I moved around my ranking the most, because I was like, well, it could do well, but then like, no, but then no.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'll be honest, despite I've got the highest out of all 3 of us, I probably like it the least out of us 3. I'm not a massive fan of it.
I love it.
It's quite... Yeah, it's a very Twan entry, and Jess, of course, likes it as well. For me, it's too messy. It's not a sound that connects to me particularly. It's got elements which I enjoy. I think the vocals at times can be good, and there's a clear visual identity with the music video, which might be portrayed over to the staging. That being said, Georgia, yeah, it's a big old question mark where Georgia's going to come. I'm fairly confident it'll be top 10. I'm fairly confident that this will do well enough there. But, like, Georgia is one of those countries where it does have some hype around it at points. Like it's got doing decent viewing numbers on YouTube. But that being said, you got to remember, I believe, sadly and undeservingly, flopped fairly badly with the televote last year compared to a lot of other entries. Like Portugal did better for it, for example, in the televote. Got third overall, I believe. Third or fourth?
Yes.
Third.
Yeah.
So it did well. I don't think this is as strong, but there's elements of it which I think juries will attract to, and I do think there's enough there's enough ethnic elements where there's definitely countries competing, or just around the world, that watch Junior Eurovision will attract to that. It's a very ethnic sound, and I think that will gravitate towards listeners and get some decent jury televotes there. Look, I'm finishing it in 6th. It's not necessarily going to do, big numbers with anything, but it could come like mid-table with the televote, mid-table with the jury. And if there's enough contrast in all the other votes, then that could be enough to seal a 6th place finish. But overall, we have this all finishing in mid-table roughly, and overall combined 7th place. So now we move on to 6th place, and I must say this is the position where me and Jess, we had France finishing combined. So I'm very intrigued to see if this is an omen for 6th place. Like France, I would say that this is potentially an entry which is surprising for some that we have it this high. In 6th place, we have last year's last place country, Malta. 6. So that was Yulen with Stronger, one of 2 all-English entries in this year's contest, obviously, and this Malta's entry. So, bit of contrast with this one. Twan, you have it in the healthy middle this time. You have it in 7th, so slightly lower than this. Jess, you have this all the way in 4th place. Meanwhile, I've got this in the top 10, but I have this in 10th place. So I'm at the far end of the only 10. I've got reasons. I know exactly why I've got it 10th. Let's start with the healthy medium. Twan, you've got this in 7th. What are your thoughts on Malta?
I think this will be the jury winner.
Me too.
Yulen's vocals are just out of this world. We know she can sing live. She's participated in several shows before. This song was clearly made for her vocals, to show off her incredible vocal talent, and it does it perfectly. I love the progression that it has. It has 3 key changes, which I discussed with some people in a different group chat, and it's one of the songs that has the most key changes in recent Eurovision history. There are some songs that have more, but 3 key changes is a lot. And I'm a sucker for key changes, so I love it. But however, I think it will not fare as well with the online vote as it will with the jury. Part of the reason for this is that I have not seen many people that love this a lot. I'm one of the people that love it a lot, but I've not seen other people that love it so much. And given that it is Malta, I think that they will not do very well with the online voting, sadly. So I think the jury win, or top 3 for sure, will cancel it out, and they'll finish somewhere in the middle.
So, Jess, Malta obviously is a country that's finished in last place for 2 of the last 4 years, I believe, back in 2019 and last year. Yet you have it doing significantly better. You have this all the way in the top 5 for Malta. That's the first time in ages. They did used to be a powerhouse, but then you think it's back in there. Why do you think Malta has come back stronger than ever before?
Well, I pretty much sort of echo what Twan said. Juries are going to absolutely love this. Potential jury winner, if not winner, maybe 2nd or 3rd in the jury. Yulen's vocals, as we know, are incredible. We know that she can perform this live. I just hope they can nail the staging for this, because I think that's really going to help her ultimately. My only downside with this song is that it is a bit repetitive, and it is essentially verse, chorus, key changes, just repeating, and there's not a huge amount of variation, which could be a downfall for the online voters, I would say, because I don't see this doing as well with the online votes. which will drag it down. But if it's already a potential jury winner, then even mid-table, the online voters is still enough to get her a high position overall. And I think if they nail the staging and nail the vocals, then top 5 is achievable, in my opinion. It's got everything going for it, I think.
I would slightly caveat that. It's got everything going for it apart from the actual song. And that's harsh on my end. Look, when I listened to this, I thought, this isn't going to be my last place, because Malta has actually been my last place the last 2 years, sadly. This is not my last place for this year. Actually, that's yet to come, believe it or not. Spoiler for some potential negativity within the top 5. But with Malta, look, I could listen to Yulan sing all day. What a voice she has. It's absolutely incredible. And there's elements of the song I like. Juries, yeah, I'm similar to you. Juries are going to love this. I don't think it'll win the jury, because I don't think it's got, I don't think the song is strong enough, and you do have to factor that in somewhere. So I don't think this will win. Top 5, I think, is definitely achievable. If not, top 6, 7, maybe. So yeah, doing well with the jury. With the televote, this is going to crash and burn. This is not going to do well at all. I see this bottom 5 with the televote, maybe even worse. It's the Malta factor, which I was right about with the busker, despite everyone saying it was going to qualify, and the televote. But yeah, Junior, it's not as bad in Junior, but I don't see the hype around this song whatsoever with the televote. I don't see it doing well. Maybe some kids will be like, oh, this girl is singing very well. We'll give her points because of that. There's a factor to that, but the song itself, very repetitive. It lacks personality. I find this very cliche and, not as good as it could be with the singer they have. If they have an amazing song with this, Malta's a potential winner with Eurovoxx. Like 100%, I think that. But this will still do all right overall. It'll be a balance out. Again, crash and burn with the televote, do decent with the jury, it will come 10th overall. The one factor that might help this is, if you remember last year, the televote was so close that it almost didn't matter where songs finished. So if Malta does flop, but the televote's close, maybe the jury points will have more of a significant impact. I don't see that happening. I think that was a one-off last year. Usually the televotes are much more spread out.
Yeah.
And of all the countries that might do well with the televote, Malta's not one of them. So I hope Euroland does well. I am part Maltese, so I do have a dog in this fight. But I see this 10th, which after recent results from Malta, back in the top 10, that'll be good. And obviously it'd be even better if they finish either of your positions in there as well. But overall, we have this in 6th place.
And now it's time for...
Okay, we gotta go.
30 seconds.
So now we come to OK, Gotta Go 30 Seconds. As always, inspired by a Golden Boy from 2015. Some things are different this year. Some things stay the same. We're keeping OK, Gotta Go 30 Seconds. Actually, I say we're keeping OK, Gotta Go 30 Seconds. You're probably thinking to yourself, Harry, haven't the guests next to you already done OK, Gotta Go 30 Seconds with differing results of success? Why, yes, viewer. Yes, they have. Twan, don't worry. You did OK comparatively. But are we going to give them another go at the countries? No, we're not. We are switching up OK, Gotta Go 30 Seconds this edition this year in a way to hopefully get higher scores. That's my intention with this. Whether that works in practice, I don't know. Literally half the people that took part last year got 1. We need higher scores than that for the credibility of Eurovoxx, I think. So this is the new version, and I must say there's a couple new rules to this version. So audience members and Jess and Twan, bear with me here. Feel free to ask questions at the end. So here is the new version of OK, Gotta Go 30 Seconds. I have a list of the last 15 years of Eurovision from 2009 to 2023. You will pick a number between 1 and 15, and then you will have 30 seconds to name as many entries from that year as you can. I will say now, it can be in any order, but there is a bonus way to get points if you do it other than that. I will explain that later. You must give me the song title. That's the way you earn the point. You obviously cannot just name countries. That is far too easy. You can any year. There are lifelines, obviously, like last season. Instead of country restart, there's year restart. So if you are completely stuck on your country, you can give me another number and I will give you another year. So for this edition, we have winner check as well. So if you are stuck at who won your year's contest, you can ask me and I will tell you the country. Then finally, I'm aware that certain members in our fan group, maybe this applies to Jess and Twan, will have more knowledge of recent years. There will be recency bias with your knowledge. So this is a variant of year restart, called recency bias. Basically, if you say recency bias, then a number between 1 and 5, you will get a year from the last 5 years of Eurovision. So between 2019 to 2023. However, if you do that, any points that you achieve in that year are halved. So you do not get the full points if you do it through that. So yes, guys, there might be some decimals this series. The final thing that you need to know, there's a way of getting bonus points. Now, hopefully, all the audience at this point is still with us. You guys are still with us? You understand the rules up to this point?
Yep.
Good. So there's a bonus point option. As I said, you can say these entries in whatever order you like. That's fine. However, if you want to show off or potentially get a few extra points, if you can name me at least the top 5 of the year you have in order, so from 1st to 5th, any points you name chronologically will be doubled, or in order will be doubled. So, for example, if you can name numbers 1 through 8 in order, you will get 16 points. That does mean, I will say, you can go in order once at any point after that. So you can go 1 through 8 and then name like the 32nd country. You will get a combined 17 points because you get the double there and you'll get 1 point there. The one thing you need to know about, there's 2 things you need to know about that rule. Obviously, if you get 2020, you can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you can't do that. The other rule is you can't use it for more than one country. So you can't name the top 5 of one year, then use your year check and try and do top 5 of another year.
Yeah.
You can only use your bonus point option for 1 year. Is that clear enough? I'll find out from the comments in the audience if that's clear enough.
I understand, so it's fine.
We're trialing something this series. We might take out some of these lifelines and bonus point options, but I think they all work. I'm going to only say this for the first time we do this show. If you run out of entries for your year, you can pick another number and it doesn't count as your year. There's a minimum of 37 countries and entries. This will not happen. I would be incredibly surprised. I'm just going to say that as the caveat in case one of you's a miracle worker and can name all the entries from a certain year. Again, it won't happen. I'm not going to say this any other episode, but just in case. So the one rule that has continued from last year is your time will start when you hear the year and your time will end when you hear the following.
Okay, hit the end.
So I'm going to flip a coin to decide who goes first. I'm going to say heads, Jess, tails, Twan. It is tails for Twan. So Twan, can you give me a number between 1 and 15?
Let's do 5.
Number 5. Okay, I'm going to get a list of that year's entries up. Twan, are you ready?
Yes.
Wonderful. That no one ever says that for this game. But here we go. Twan, you will have 30 seconds to name as many entries from 2021. Go.
Ziti buoni. Voilà. Tout l'univers. Discothèque. Je me casse. Sugar. I don't feel hate.
No, that wasn't one.
I'm totally stuck. What the fuck?
Okay, hit the end.
Yeah.
Very well done. See, we're already producing higher scores than last time because you got more than one. To be fair, Twan did all right last time. No bonus point for your attempt there because you only got to 3rd place. If you'd have said, no, actually, because Jess can, no, she can't in theory because she's not allowed to pick the next number. If you'd have said 10 years, then Shum would have completed your top 5 for the minimum to get double points there.
10 years was like my last place. Do you think I remember that?
I remember my last place for many years, Twan. Surely you remember your last. You remember your last at least. So overall, that was a grand total of 7 points in your attempt. Pretty good score. Pretty good score. I mean, maybe Well, maybe I'm just comparing it to the results for the last season's OK Gotta Go.
I'm
30
terrible
seconds.
at these games, so it's fine.
Look, 7 points would have got you a good position last time, so we'll have to see if that's the same for this time around. Jess, we come to you now. Now, you were the first person ever to do OK Gotta Go 30 seconds, and you scored a grand total of 1. Are you more hopeful for this variant of the game?
Yeah, thanks for the reminder, and thank you for reminding me that I need to redeem myself.
Yes, this is your redemption arc, Jess.
Yes.
I feel it. For obvious reasons, you cannot pick number 5 because you know what number that is, or year that is. Can you give me any other number between 1 and 15?
Number 7.
Number 7. Okay, let's get your. Please be a good one. We hear Jess murmuring. So, Jess, ready on the timer. You will have 30 seconds to name as many entries from 2017. Go.
2017. Amar Pelle's Deutsch. City Lights. I Will Never Give Up on You. My Historia, My History. Occidentalis Karma. Oh my goodness. Hey Mama. Walking on Air. Walking on Something. Oh my goodness. That was harder than I thought it would be.
It is, isn't it?
I thought I knew it, and then
it's a timer.
It's the timer gets people, I must say.
Yeah.
So I have to apologize. I'm gonna have to. My History is not the name of the entry you're thinking of. Belarus's entry. That's I had a brief look. It's
similar.
It's Histoire Malheur Zia. I would have been very impressed if you got that, but it's certainly not. So I had to dock a point there. Obviously, no bonus point because you didn't go through 1 to 5. But that being said, Jess, you got a total of 6 entries.
Okay.
Yes, I won.
Last time.
But 5 more than last time, Jess. So well done. So, hi there, guys. Post-production Harry here. I'm currently in the middle of editing this podcast, and as you can tell by my outfit, I'm not dressed for a video. The top I wore in the podcast episode is in the wash, so I can't can't put it on now. So you're just stuck with this. Basically, I thought I'd have a bit of a caveat here because while watching the episode, editing it down, I noticed that in Jess's attempt, that not only obviously did I dock a point because she didn't really get the Belarus name correct with My History, she also didn't get the Austria name correct. You might have noticed that. So she said Walking on Air, or her second attempt was Walking on Something. The title of that song is actually Running on Air. So, Jess, if you're listening, watching, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to dock you another point for that. So that leaves you on 5 points, which is, it's still much better than your OK Gotta Go 30 seconds attempt from last year, but it's not 6. So it's 4 better than last time. Don't worry, that will be updated on the scoreboard and, you know, corrected, rectified for the next episode. So yeah, any other mention to her getting 6 is slightly wrong. She got 5. Back to podcast me, Twan and Jess. So, already some better... See, my method's working. This is a more competitive version of OK Gotta Go 30 seconds. I say that, watch everyone else get 1. So, the grand scores after 1 round of this. In last, but second place, with second place, let's say second place.
Yes.
It is Jess with 6 points. Yes. And in first place with 7 points, it is Twan. And that concludes another edition of OK Gotta Go 30 seconds. So, back to predicting the Junior Eurovision entries for this year, and we have 5 left. For those not keeping track, in alphabetical order, they are Armenia, France, Netherlands, North Macedonia, and Spain. They are our top 5 in alphabetical order. Let's see who we have. As I said at the start, we all have different winners. None of those have come up yet. You'd hope so, considering otherwise the other 2 have drastically put them down. But yeah, none of those have come up yet. So let's see if that happens soon. Well, it will happen at some point, but let's see soon. In 5th place, we have North Macedonia.
5.
Кажи ми
So that was Tamara with Kajimi Kajimi Ko, and that is North Macedonia's entry for this year's Junior Eurovision. One of the fan favourites. We have it in 5th place. Let's explain why. So, Twan, this is your predicted winner for the entire contest.
It is.
How
You know what, Twan? Do you want to say why you think that before we come to me and Jess's rankings? Let's go to you first.
I'll start off by saying that it is not my personal winner. It is high in my top, but it's not my personal winner. I predicted it first for several reasons. One, because it's a fan favorite. It is really, really popular in the Eurovision fandom. For another reason is that her vocals are amazing. They are really, really good. I've seen some live performances by her, and she is magnificent. The visuals in the video are amazing, and I hope they are able to translate them onto the stage with the staging. So if they do that well, I think the televote as well as jury will absolutely love it and make it win. Yeah, I think this is gonna win.
You think this is gonna win?
Okay.
So Jess, we've heard Twan's prediction. He thinks it's gonna win. So bear in mind, we've got this in 5th. Can you care to explain where you have this, which might make this all the way down at 5th? A predicted winner from Twan. Why you have this in? Why? Where you have this? Why? Explain yourself to the masses.
Well, Twan's predicted winner is my predicted 10th place. Yeah, very different, I know.
Yeah, go on.
I think it's a good song, and I think Tamara is a great singer, but the song for me, it's just good. It's not great or really outstanding. It's just good, in my opinion. And I do think it's one of the better songs that North Macedonia has sent to Junior Eurovision, but I just think there are stronger songs that will appeal to juries and televote online voters more than Macedonia. And for me, the song is a little bit repetitive. It does get a bit tiresome towards the end, repeating the same thing. And depending on how they're going to stage this, I can see your face, Harry. Depending on how they're going to stage this, not sure it's enough to stand out to the extent it would need to win or to even be top 5. So I think left-hand side, maybe at a push could be achievable, or kind of on the board with the left-hand side. Yeah, so it's good in my opinion. I like it, but it's just not winning.
Not winning. I mean, it's very similar, your ranking. You just add a 0 at the end of it. So yeah, I mean, Jess, I mean, I can't believe you upset North Macedonia fans like that. How would you do such a horrible thing and put it so low in your prediction? So anyway, I have this Yeah, so anyway, I have this 9th in my prediction.
Well, single digit. So, you know.
Yeah, much higher. Look, in my personal ranking, I want this to do much better than 9th. Much better. I think this is fantastic. I really do. North Macedonia back to their form after I'd say a subpar at best performance last year. I know, Jess, you like the song, but it wasn't for me. This is much more up my street. Tamara can sing. She can sing, I tell you. Like, if you put that voice on a 25-year-old, you wouldn't bat an eyelid. It's ridiculously good. And when she's of age, come to adult Eurovision. Trust me, Tamara, you will do well with a good song. And you know what? If this song was in adult Eurovision, this could do really well. It takes you back to the nostalgic 2000s Balkan entries like the Bosnia and Herzegovina 2006, Serbia 2007, Serbia 2008, Serbia many years. Serbia do like a good Balkan ballad. But it takes me back to that. It's very nostalgic sound, and it's a sound I love. That being said, is it a sound that kids like? That's where I have the issue here. I don't know. This could easily do well. I don't think it would win, but this could easily do very, very well. North Macedonia struggle, usually. They had a good result back in 2019 with Fire, but oftentimes they send these popular entries amongst the fandom, which are often older than the people voting, like Dorma in 2018 or Green Forces in 2021. Side note, Green Forces absolutely robbed in 2021. I love that entry to pieces. But it got what, 9th, 10th? It was one of the favourites going in and did that. So a similar fate, sadly, could before tomorrow. I don't know if North Macedonia have showed us enough that they can stage the song well enough. Maybe we're wrong, but I'm just not sure. North Macedonia never have the support or enough support to do well at Junior Eurovision, which is a real shame. But again, you look at the YouTube votes, the YouTube views, it's not nearly as high as some of the other favorites, or like any of, like UK's higher, Georgia's higher, Germany's higher than these entries. Like, it's just, there's a certain style of country which just doesn't do well. And my bold prediction for this year, if people have been keeping track with my rankings, I think Portugal is finishing higher than North Macedonia in the like it. If I'm correct,
crazy, but
I might be crazy. But I mean, speaking of crazy, I've got Poland third as well. So maybe I am crazy. But if I'm correct, I'm going to look like such a genius. You never know. Look, this will have a good support with it. I love Twan's giving me the death stare here. I appreciate that. But this is look, I appreciate this could do well with the juries. I think there are other songs that will do better with the juries. That's the problem. Televote, I'm just not sure. Maybe it'll do well with the televote. Maybe it will do well with the televote. I just don't know. I don't know. And North Macedonia's track record scares me with not only entries that struggle, but also entries that I personally love and also the fandom love as well. They don't have a good track record of converting it on. But that being said, mainly due to Twan, this is predicted in our top 5, which would be one of North Macedonia's best results. And without, I will say, this is recording before any artist country announcements for Eurovision 2024. There's rumours that North Macedonia will be back. Hopefully that this will be the catapult for them to do well, should they be back in 2024 in the adult contest. But for now, 5th in our combined ranking. So now we come to the top 4 here. And in 4th place, we have the second of the countries being represented in this podcast, Netherlands.
4.
So that was the duo of Sepp and Yasmijn with Holding On To You. This is a fascinating one because we have it in 4th, the Netherlands Junior Eurovision entry. We all have this in 5th in our rankings. We all have this 5th.
We actually have a ranking similar? Like the
yeah, we've all got this in 5th. It's very impressive. Between this and last year, where Jess and I both had Luna in 1st, we know what to put for the Netherlands. We know. Somehow the maths means that we've got it 4th combined.
Okay.
even though in reality we all think this will be 5th. Look, 4th, 5th, it's not too dissimilar to where we think this will do. Jess, this was one of the early entries that was released in the batch, and it got a lot of hype early on. Do you think that this will sustain and do well? Because bear in mind, Luna had the hype and sadly came 7th. So why do you think this will do slightly better than that?
I mean, to be fair, last year was a very strong competitive year. Any other year, Luna would have done so much better. But, you know, this is one of the few up-tempo songs we have this year. It's very ballad heavy in this year's contest. And this is like the complete opposite to so many other songs in this year's contest. Obviously, that's going to work in their favor, I think. It's fun, it's catchy. You know, I've already seen some like videos of them rehearsing with their dancers and the DJ. And this is going to go off on the Junior Eurovision stage, just like it did at the national final. And if they have a good running order, maybe even closing the show, I'm telling you, online voters are going to love this. Juries, maybe not as much. I think it still has the potential to be on the left-hand side with the juries, but online voters, I think, are going to put this in the top 5. They're going to love it. It's brilliant, I think.
Fair enough. Twan, now you were mentioning about Poland's potential lack of support for their own entry. You being a Dutchman, you would imagine that you have some more insight into the support for your own country's entry. Do you see that? Do you see that playing a factor, being good for this 5th place finish that we have, but 4th overall ranking?
The Junior Eurovision is really, really popular in the Netherlands, especially with the kids. They are really active on social media and on YouTube. They've got weekly or like bi-weekly videos that follow Sepp and Yasmijn, as well as the other finalists before Sepp and Yasmijn won. So they are very consistently really popular in the Netherlands. And I think that will play quite a big part because the Netherlands also loves Sepp and Yasmijn's entry. When it comes to winning the online vote, I don't think so, because we saw that Netherlands won the online vote in 2017. But I don't think they can do that this year. I think they will be quite high with the televote as well. And as Jess said, I don't think this will fare as well with the jury as it will with the televote. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, Netherlands, because there's a lot of hype around it. I see a lot of people putting this first in their personal rankings. But for me, this doesn't have a winning quality, which I think we can all sort of consensus here. We've got this in 5th place. It doesn't scream winner. I love it personally. For me, it's very nostalgic EDM 2013 sound, which is my era of music. It's the best era of music, and yeah, I love this. It's got great energy on stage. I will say the lyrics I find slightly amusing. I tried to dance here on my own, but I'm holding on to you. Have you tried letting go? Have you tried letting go of the person that might help with your mission? I am also thankful that, unlike the music video, there's no awkward lovey-dovey looks in the performance. Yeah. I hate those just in general at Junior Eurovision. Do not do those. They never look good. But yeah, this is a very quality entry. Netherlands have been sending some good stuff, some fun stuff in the last few years. And I think this will do well. I think this is a top 5. I see this doing well with both, because this has got really good vocal potential as well. Great energy on stage. This, for me, this is very similar to 2019 Netherlands in terms of what you could do. I know my opinions can be boring, Twan. I apologize, but I'm only addressing it because we're on camera, so that's saying it.
Doesn't matter. I don't care.
No, it's fine. But yeah, I see a consistent level for both, like the 2019 entry, where it did both with the televote and with the jury, due to a polished, slick performance, which Netherlands often bring. They often bring that, and yeah, as long as they don't get drawn first again, which didn't help their chances last year. Yeah, I see this doing a little bit better than Luna, and look, we've all got it 5th. 4th combined, very similar. I think none of us would be complaining with either results, or even higher potentially. We all love this song and hope it does well, but 4th overall in our ranking. So now we come to the top 3 in our ranking, and left for us to review and talk about is Armenia, France, and Spain. So let's see who's our bronze medal for our ranking. In 3rd place, we have Spain.
3.
So that was Sandra with I Love You, and we've got a bit of diversity with Spain's entry in our ranking. So I'm now acting as the common middle ground, so I'll probably go first here. I've got this in 4th, so slightly under. Jess, you've got this as your winner. This is your predicted winner for the contest. Now, so we'll come on to Twan after. With his ranking compared to Jess's. So we'll start with the healthy medium. I think this is a very quality entry. I think this is very fun from Spain, full of personality. Sandra owns that music video with her performance. I have some hesitancy in the sense that she can't replicate all the visuals that are in that music video. Physically, she can't do it unless she's a miracle worker, which I don't think she is. Very fun, and in a year that you mentioned, Jess, is not having as many pop songs. It's got loads of ballads. Don't worry about that. Is in many like fun pop songs. This is definition of fun. So much fun.
Yeah.
Again, maybe some hesitancy. I'm talking myself out of forfeit. I do have this 4th, don't worry. But the only thing that gives me hesitancy is the last time they went for Pure Film was 2021, and they didn't do as well with that. But I think this is a better quality. I think this is more carefully approached in terms of, again, quality. And I feel Sandra's got great personality. If she replicates that on the stage, she will do very well. This is one, again, I see doing well across the board. I see decent televote. I see decent jury. I mean, Spain involved. Of course, there's going to be decent televote in a contest where they can vote for their own country. Hi, Spanish fans. But yeah, very quality, good entry, solid. And I see this doing well all round. Jess, I mean, I see it doing well all round. You've got to do well all round. You've got to do exceptionally well all round. This is your winner, predicted winner.
Yeah. The reason it's my winner is because it gives me J'imagine vibes, which of course won in 2020. It just, it's as you said, it's very fun and very happy. and just kind of a lovely song all round. It's super catchy, so uplifting, which was what J'imagine was, and well, I guess still is. And for that reason, I was thinking that it's just going to win just purely because of that, just because of how fun and happy it is. And if they can deliver a good staging, because Spain know how to stage in Junior Eurovision. So if they can deliver a good staging, and I feel confident in Sandra's vocals, online voters are going to love this. If it gets a good running order as well, that might help it. Juries, I think, are going to like this too. And I think it's definitely going to be top 5, maybe top 3 with the online vote, I think.
Yeah.
If they get a high enough jury score, that's it, they've won. Simple.
That's it, they've won. So let's trace back to North Macedonia a sec. Remember, Twan, when Jess in particular, and let's ignore me for a sec, Jess in particular crushed the dreams of your predicted winner by putting it significantly lower than you. Care to explain to Jess where you have Spain in your predicted ranking?
It's going to be
Easy.
bad, isn't it?
It's 8 because I really didn't know where to place it, and 8 was the spot that I had left.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I was making my ranking. I did it earlier this week and earlier last week, and I was making my ranking, and 8 was the place that I had left, and Spain was the country that I had left. And I really
thank God it wasn't lower.
and I really had no idea where to place Spain, so I just placed it 8th. I can easily see it win because it is such a lovely song. It is a really uplifting, really fun, as you said, kind of like J'imagine song. It features a lot of languages, which is also a really nice aspect of the song, I think. It's overall just a lovely, lovely vibe, and I can easily see it win or easily see it being top 3.
Potentially a question maybe on your end, because you have this 8th and I have this, well, not winning, I have this in 4th. Is it in a sense too lovely? I know J'imagine did well, but is it almost like too good and nice?
I don't think so.
If that makes sense.
I don't think so.
No.
I know you don't think that, Jess, but no, that's fair enough. It's just one of those where it's like, I remember we fell into this chat with La Festa, because that's obviously a very fun, upbeat song, which we thought was going to win. Is it too, not cliche is the right word, but too typical is my only concern with it.
My concern with La Festa was more that it was almost too polished. It was too choreographed.
Could this fall into the same thing, though? Could this fall into the same trap?
I mean, everything could fall into that trap. I also think the Netherlands this year could fall into that trap.
Yeah.
But given Spain's staging the last couple of years, I think they will be fine on that aspect, and I think it will fare quite well.
It will fare quite well, but still only 8th for Twan, 4 for me, 1st for Jess. Overall, 3rd in our combined ranking. So now we come to our top 2. We are left with Armenia and France. Yes, we have been incredibly boring combined and just gone for the top 2 of last year. We think they'll do well again. Sorry. In second, but the question is, add a bit of suspense. Do we think it'll be the same order as last year, or do we think it'll be the other way round? I will say now, maybe a bit of a spoiler. My 1st and 2nd is here. Is it the correct same 1st and 2nd as the order? I'm just asking so many rhetorical questions. Let's get on to the result. In 2nd place in our combined ranking is Armenia. 2.
I'ma do it my way. And I'm rocking the rules. No matter what they say.
So that was Young Girls, no relation to the 2009 act for Armenia, with Do It My Way, a girl group representing Armenia. So, Jess and Twan, you've actually both got this in 3rd place. We're now starting to get to the point where we're going to agree on a lot of these. Jess and Twan, you have this in 3rd place. I have this in 2nd place. So, let's start off with you, Jess. Armenia, they're all right at Junior Eurovision, I suppose. They do okay.
Yes.
You know, top 2 the last 2 years. 2nd in their host, 1st a couple years ago. In France as well. They do all right. They've never been outside the top 10.
Okay. Yeah.
Solid enough country. Why do you think they're going to fall all the way down into 3rd place, which is probably one of their worst results? No, I'm kidding. It's one of their worst results of the contest. What are your thoughts on Armenia?
So I have Armenia picked as a potential online winner this year. The song, it definitely does have K-pop vibes, very modern, current, radio-friendly, very much in tune with what is popular in the charts around Europe and America as well. And I think that's going to work in their favor. If the music video is anything to go by, and if we look at Armenia's history in Junior Eurovision, the staging is going to be incredible. And don't think I've really heard any of the girls' vocals live. I've only heard them in the music video. So I'm hoping that with all of the choreography that they're going to have, that they can keep their good vocals. But even if they can't, online voters are going to love this regardless, just because of how catchy and how fun and fresh it is. Juries, I think, will score this lower. I don't see this doing as well with the juries, maybe lower left side, but online vote, top 3 potential winner.
Yes, I'm on a similar line. Twan, you're on the exact same line as Jess.
I am. I agree with everything that Jess said. However, I do have a concern when it comes to the live performance, and that is the same concern that I have with Georgia, is that it might get a bit too messy. Because obviously it is a group of 5-6 girls singing a song that is a very fast song, and it could get messy very easily.
Yeah.
But if they manage to do it neatly, I think it will do very, very well with the online vote, if not win, maybe even top 3. And it will do fairly well enough with the jury to score well overall. I'm not sure I can actually see it as a winner, just because I'm not sure whether the jury will appreciate this enough to win. But I can totally see it in the top 3.
Yeah, so I'm gonna take you back as a British fan. Obviously, the last 2 countries to reveal their artists were the UK and Armenia. So when we sent a girl band, we were the second to last. So we sent a girl band. I thought, oh, it's fantastic. We're going to stand out. We're going to be the only person sending a girl back. Then Armenia comes along. It's like, oh, for flip's sake, it's completely stealing our thunder here. I'll be perfectly honest. This is my last place of the entire year. I hate K-pop, so look. This is not for me at all. However, I appreciate that people will like this. Very energetic, very fun, very modern, very, very modern for Armenia.
Yeah.
And yeah, I see ridiculous televote potential. Ridiculous televote potential. I see this winning it, especially with how diehard Armenian fans are when it comes to Junior Eurovision, and just overall the fandom behind Armenia as well. There is a good enough fandom, from people around the globe. Again, maybe. The thing is, I see this as a potential winner because there is a range of where this could come in the jury. It could come high enough where it could do well enough to win the whole contest. It could also come mid-table. There's no denying that. It could also come mid-table if this doesn't connect live. But the televote will push it up to, I believe, second. I think this wins it fairly convincingly by, I'm going to say, at least 10 points. At least 10 points. And the only reason I'm being cautious on that is because it was so close last year. But I'm going to, it could be a lot higher than 10. I'm going to say at least 10 points. There's a lot, I don't want to say there's a lot of good from my perspective because, again, I'm not a massive fan of it, but I see there's a lot of quality there that can gravitate towards fans. And again, this is high energy, high power. I wouldn't have it too close to the Netherlands. That's the only thing I'd say, or the UK for different reasons. Spread those out. I suppose the only thing I will say with that is the country deciding the running order is one we haven't talked about yet, and also within a chance of winning. Just some speculation sprinkled around there. So who knows with the running order? But yeah, I can see Armenia are good at Junior Eurovision. They're good. And I don't see any different this year. Back-to-back second places, I believe. And it will be a frustrating one based on who will potentially beat them again. So now we come on to our winner. And if you've been keeping track, you know exactly who it is. We think that overall, we're going to have a back-to-back winner with France.
Wow.
So that was Zoe with Kerr, France's host entry and for Junior Eurovision this year. Jess and Twan, you both have this in your runner-up slot, and I have this as the predicted winner of the entire contest. Will come to me last. Twan, we'll start with you. Why do you think France is going to carry on the success from last year and be runners-up and do very well? We're runners-up.
Well, let's be fair. Ever since France returned to Junior Eurovision, they've been an absolute powerhouse. They've sent quality every single year. They've made amazing stagings every single year. They've had a singer that can sing every single year. There hasn't been a single French entry that hasn't been perfect. Whether you like it or not, the staging, the song, and the vocals were all good. And I think this is one of those as well. We know that Zoe can sing. The song is just very lovely. It's catchy. It's upbeat. It is beautiful, in my opinion. I really like it personally. And if the music video is anything to go by, which the music video is really, really creative, really original, I think the staging could have really big potential.
Yes, obviously similar second place. Obviously, last year
Yeah.
we had France in 6th place and ended up winning. Hopefully, we're not cursing them this year by putting them actually as the winner. But how are your thoughts towards France this year?
Yeah, pretty much everything Twan said. I think this is a really, really good song. It's such a strong entry, catchy, upbeat, fun. It just kind of encapsulates what Junior Eurovision is about, as do some other songs this year as well. And, you know, if they can nail the staging, 100% they're going to be somewhere in the top 3, without a doubt.
Guaranteed.
Because the song, the music, the melody, the beat, the singer, everything, it's got everything going for it, basically. And I would be surprised to see this finishing outside of the top 3. Either way, France have done it again. They've got another great result. And yeah, could potentially win it. I wouldn't be surprised to see them win again with this.
No, I mean, I have this as the winner of Eurovision, and of Junior Eurovision. And as soon as I heard this, I was like, "Oh, France don't mind winning again. They've got some other cities around France which don't mind hosting, and maybe a Toulouse or a Lorient or a Marseille potentially, or Paris again. They could be born to go Paris, but." When you Jess, what you said about the song having everything is 100% correct. It has the artist, it has the quality, the modern, up-to-date quality that a song needs. It has the fun of a Junior Eurovision entry. It has moments of not ballad, but like, you know, big notes and jury hookers. And yeah, I think this is the jury winner personally. I know you guys said Malta. This is the jury winner for me. Remember Tic Tac Teak, I don't know if it's just Tic Tac or Tic Tac Teak, won the jury back in 2021. Valentina won it in 2020. And Lissandra won it in 2023. They seem to know how to please the juries. And Zoe, I feel no different. What I love about Zoe is, and this is a quality that I'd like to see the UK adopt a bit more. Zoe and France, to be fair in general, have mastered the quality of sending a modern song that could work for adults, could appeal to adults if they wanted to, but is also fun. It's a relaxed, fun feel. It doesn't feel like we're putting someone into an adult mold. It feels very kid-friendly still. Not that the others are particularly kid-friendly, but that are not kid-friendly, but this is widest range kid-friendly. Yeah, and fun message, just about love. Who doesn't love a story about love? One that juries can attract to. And yeah, France, for me, France is winning again. The only other country I could see winning this year is Armenia, and that's if their televote score is really high, really, really high. Yeah. But even then, I think France could come. I think France is top 3 in the televote still. France have got diehard fans as well. Yeah, just enough factors here are going to line up for me. The only concern I have, and it's because it's a host entry, is the fact that it is a random running order for them. That's the only thing that concerns me. If they get put early, that could be an issue. But then again, you know, entries have done well early on, so might not be the biggest concern, but it is one that gives me slight pause. That being said, I think France is winning. I think they are going to do it, and and because we have all said our predicted winners, it means none of them are going to win. But overall, that is maybe one of us will be right. Maybe, who knows? Spain, North Macedonia, France. One of those wins, we're all going to be gloating. Well, not all. One of us is going to be gloating, and we'll have to see. But that is our prediction for Junior Eurovision this year.
And now it's time for Convince the Brief.
And now we come on to a new segment for this season of the podcast, replacing Unpopular Opinions. Because you know these guys are Popular Opinions. You know them. It is of a similar ilk, though. It is called, as many people would have heard by now, Convince the Brief. And it even has its own little theme song, which I want you to join in the second time round. Convince the Brief. Convince the Brief. Let's all go convince the Brief. Everybody convince the Brief. Convince the Brief. Let's all go convince the Brief. Hey, you can tell we're not in sync with our with our internets. We'll have to see if we carry on with everyone else joining in. So here's how this works. Before the show, I asked Jess and Twan to come up with their favorite non-qualifier in Eurovision history. And the way this is going to work, it's almost in a sense a little bit like a contest. We're going to have a leaderboard for this. They each will get 30 seconds uninterrupted to pitch their non-qualifier and tell me why it is the best thing since sliced bread. I want my guests to go full on and go absolutely crazy. Sell me this song. It doesn't matter my prior conceptions to your entry. I will go solely on the pitch. Well, I might go partly on my prior connections to the entry, but it's not going to be the main factor. I want pure passion. I might even ask some questions afterwards for your entry. So, yeah. It's going to be a fantastic. I want to see your passion for this. I feel I've got the right people to kick off this show, I must say. So, considering we flipped a coin for the last one, let's go the reverse order. So, Jess, we're going to start with you. I'm just going to have my timer on my phone. I will let you know when your time starts and your time ends. So, pretend you are pitching to the highest person that you need to sell your biggest product. You've got 30 seconds. Your 30 seconds to convince the Brief. Start now.
Now, if I remember correctly, your favorite Eurovision song is Molly Twa. So you like ballads. Maybe you would like a Finnish ballad. It's called Blackbird by Norma John. And it's an absolutely beautiful, stunning piece of art. We have incredible vocals from the lead female singer who just has such an ethereal voice that just sings this Blackbird song so unbelievably beautifully. And then we've got this amazing
That is your
piano.
time, Jess. That is your 30 seconds goes quick. I might change that in future episodes to 45. Apologies for you guys. But that again, it's an elevator pitch. You got to do it quick.
Yeah.
Very good passion.
What?
I do love your note of trying to convince me through prior knowledge of my favorite being Molly Twa. Where would you compare this? I suppose my only question to you is, where would you compare this amongst other Finnish entries? Is it better than Cha Cha Cha? Is it better than Dark Side? Is it better than Hard Rock Hallelujah?
Well, I feel like
no, Twan, it's not your pitch. Jess.
Compare it to those songs because those songs are a totally different style to Blackbird.
That's true.
Like Blackbird is like completely the other end of the spectrum to the rock and the rap rock pop that we saw this year. It's just in a world of its own, in a league of its own. Ethereal, dreamy, beautiful, relaxing, with dulcet tones from the lead singer. There's a beautiful piano solo in there.
Yes,
It's incredible.
What I love about that is, Jess, you've promoted your song while also not discrediting some of Finland's all-time classics by saying they're different, because I love those songs. So if you'd have said it's better, that would have been very interesting and for me to do. You're playing this well. You're playing this well. Twan, we're going to come to you now. I'm very intrigued by this pitch, knowing your taste. So, Twan, your 30 seconds to convince the Brief. Start now.
Well, the nickname Romani Nightingale might say something to you. This artist has 11 solo albums, over 17 sold-out shows just this month, November, has 5 octaves, as many as the artist Mariah Carey. She's sang the song in over 10 languages. and sang it without earpieces. She was the only artist in Eurovision to sing without earpieces. I'm obviously talking about Sophie Marinova, 2012 Bulgaria Love Unlimited, best Eurovision song
That's your
ever.
time. I gave you a couple of seconds to just confirm what entry you were talking about.
That was an interesting pitch.
It was,
And
yeah.
it's all true.
You said no lies there, Twan. I will admit you said no lies. Love Unlimited is a fascinating one to compare to Blackbird as well. I suppose my one question for you is so Bulgaria obviously infamously had a tiebreaker with Norway. What are your thoughts on that tiebreaker? What Sophie losing it?
Sophie ate him up.
She was, I did forget that part of the show.
as I said, she sang in over 10 languages. She has 5 octaves. She sang without earpieces, which is the only artist ever in Eurovision to sing without earpieces. That's an incredible achievement. For that alone, she should have been an automatic qualifier.
Well, why didn't she have an earpiece?
Because she always sings without earpieces.
Oh.
She doesn't like to sing with earpieces.
She's her own earpiece. And you know what? To be fair, Norway only sung in one language, so she does have him beat there. You know what? They were both fantastic pitches. And you know what? At the end of this year, they will both be, I'm sure, very high up on my leaderboard. That being said, I am going to give the slight edge to the person that connected with my personal taste and also didn't discredit any other songs I like. Jess, you are overall the best pitcher we have had so far. Finally. You're currently leading the leaderboard for Convince the Brief. And you know what? Honestly, song-wise, it's very similar. I feel very similar to both those outside of your pitches. So it was all down to it. And Jess, you told it better. Twan, yours was definitely funnier. And you told no lies. But yes, well done, Jess. And that concludes the first edition of what will be many for Convince the Brief. Convince the Brief. Let's all go convince the Brief. Hey, lovely stuff. So that will conclude this edition of the Eurovoxx podcast, the season opener, as you will, for the second year of the podcast. We predicted that France were going to win Junior Eurovision later this month. We had 2 people convince the Brief, and we also had people name 30 seconds worth of year songs. That definitely made sense at the end. We're keeping that in. Jess and Twan, as always, lovely speaking with you. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Who knows, we might have you back on for more attempts at convincing me or to even have some goes at okay, gotta go 30 seconds. For now, what's left for me to say is I've been Harry. Actually, there's much more to say. Follow us on all sorts of social medias. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Make sure the website is your home for all news Eurovoxx. Subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like. If you liked this format on video, let us know. We might try and do more of these via video. They're obviously more fun and engaging for the YouTube viewers. But of course, in the selfish way, make sure that you go over to the Spotify account and also like and rate this podcast. We want to do bigger and better things. We want to make this even better for you this year. And hopefully we will. By we, hopefully I will make this better for you this year. But that being said, now we can come to the end. I have been Harry and hope you enjoy this episode. See you guys next time.
Bye.